Welcome to the Gamestorm Magic Podcast. I'm Dan Horgan.
And I'm Austin Benedetti.
So today we're joining you from Cincinnati, Ohio. We just played in the Team Open. It was me playing Modern, Dan. Austin played Standard, and Mike Morrissey played Legacy. And so Mike went like X2 on the day. I think I lost.
He did great.
Yeah, I think I lost like 3 rounds, and you lost. We don't know.
We don't even want to talk about how my day went, but I did the best I could. Let's just put it this way. Esper, it's a real thing. And Mono Blue it's hard. It's harder now than it was in the beginning for sure.
Yeah. Like our losses just ended up like hitting at the wrong time. Like when Mike got a loss, I also got a loss, and they just hit at really bad times.
Oh yeah, it was.
I think it was X4 or X3. I don't remember exactly. I mean, like a few of the game, like one of the game, I didn't even have to play because you guys both won at one point. And
yeah,
I was just like, cool.
There was a couple games I was sitting there that you all won before I even had to finish. Like our reclamation match, obviously you all won before that. That took almost the whole. Yeah. My first round took like the whole.
Yeah, I played against that was a round I played against Phoenix for the first time. That was round 1. I played against Phoenix.
Oh yeah.
And she saw all 18 of her lands at some point.
Oh yeah, she just unfortunately for her, she just did not draw well. It was a variance. Also,
like I'm playing Storm, so like I have to play Surgical Extraction, and I was able to surgical her Arclight Phoenix.
The Phoenix.
In response to combat. Or before combat, like resolved after she cast 3 spells and put 3 of them in the yard or whatever. I was like, let's surgical that.
It was great.
Yeah.
It's a great feeling to be able to nerf that deck.
Yeah, but we ended up X4, 86 out of 318 or something like that. So, like, not great, but not bad, right? And, yeah, so basically, I mean, that's what happened. We're going to go play probably some classics tomorrow. And, yeah, so we're going to get on more with other stuff. The first thing I want to get to is I want to talk about the new WPN, which is the Wizards Play Network.
Yeah.
So they're changing it just a little bit. The first thing is they're trying to change it from quantity to quality, where basically it's like just because you have a lot of players doesn't mean you're a good store, right?
Right.
So they're kind of being
which I think is a great thing by Wizards, but that's
right. But basically, so what they're going to do is like they're going to try to get players more interacted, get feedback from players to be like, hey, what's the best store around here to go to? Like I think a lot of people are going to say Gamestorm because I mean, look at like we weren't there on Friday, but apparently there was 70 people there.
Yeah, I mean, Modern is flying off the shelves. The Standard's even picking up too.
And you also got to remember that like there's probably about 10 or 15 of us in Cincy right now, probably.
Yeah, and there's still going.
About 70 people.
I mean, we got the stream going on, which is awesome, and we're going to be having the Standard stream soon coming up. That's going to be great. And, you know, Dan and John worked very hard on getting that set up. Is there someone else I'm missing that's involved in that, or is it just...
It's mostly me and John trying to get it started. And,
so, I mean, he's got some help from some other people, but, like... Definitely, it's a good thing, and it's showing improvement for that. So I think this store is overall for the meta play is really good because it gives you a stronger feel for what the meta really is. Because we have a lot of competitive players out there, we have some pro players that come out, or people that I say that were on went to the pro tour at some point.
Yeah.
That come and play normally, and this is usually where a lot of people come for to, you know, get ready for certain events. So I think it'll definitely put us on the map. I also believe that because they're doing it like this, it helps the other stores get recognized that aren't getting the recognition because they don't have a high player base.
Right.
For what they do and how they help their players and how loyal they are to their community when it comes to that. So I think Wizards is doing really good doing this. There's a few things that they've done so far that actually seem pretty going in the right direction.
Right, and so like the other thing that they're doing, they have this new thing called Wizards Play Network Premium, and it's it's more of a recognition of like the best stores in the areas. Currently, only 5% of stores qualify for it, But what you have to do is the store itself has to apply for the premium, and then they'll get the feedback for that quality over quantity. They're going to get the feedback from the players from those stores that frequent the area, and then that's how they're going to determine the premium. At least that's what I got out of the article.
That's pretty sweet.
Right. So on top of that, there is going to be new promo packs coming. I think it's starting with M2020.
Yep.
And they're pretty cool. So pretty much all the promos in there are going to be stamped. And I think they're foil. Not 100% sure. I'm pretty sure every time I've seen a stamped card, it's usually been foiled. So they're going to be in 4 card packs. The first slot is going to be a rare/mythic rare, stamped obviously, and it's going to be from the most recent set. The second slot is going to be a rare or mythic rare stamped that is currently in standard, and there's only going to be a select few cards for that.
Really?
Yeah. So
that's actually pretty sweet.
I assume they're going to pick more played cards, something, whatever. The third slot is going to be an alternate art basic land, stamped again.
I'm always good for that.
Right.
And
And then slot 4 is going to be a promo card, similar to what they have with the F&M promos currently, but there's going to be, I believe, a cycle of 5 of them.
Really?
So, like, we'll see what happens there.
It seems interesting what they're doing right now. I mean,
it reminds me of Showdown a lot.
Yeah, it
the
does.
Showdown packs.
I mean, that's pretty sweet. And those are for like what? Is this for the F&M or is that for like?
It's for F&Ms, yes.
For F&M, so that's pretty sweet. Because I remember back in the day, you used to get stuff for F&M, and then and you also used to get stuff when you did so many F&Ms or whatever with the DCI card. They used to send you stuff in the mail. So it looks like they're trying to do something like that again. I mean, that was years ago when I was playing, when they were doing that stuff, and I still have some of my stuff from back then. It was pretty sweet. It wasn't the greatest stuff in the world that you were getting, but it was still something, and it was still worth some value. And it sounds like they're trying to get back to that, trying to give the players something more for us, always buying their products and playing and everything. So it seems pretty sweet to me. I will only know once I get one to see how good the outcome is.
We'll know the answer come summer. I believe all of this is releasing in after Core Set comes out. So I think they're working on the premium thing right now, and working on all that stuff. But I think it's going to all take effect in July or whatever, whenever Core 2020 comes out.
Okay. See, it's so weird. I'm not even thinking about that yet. Core 2020 feels like a long way for me.
Well, I mean,
I'm still getting over the fact that I got 36 Planeswalkers coming my way.
Oh, yeah.
And then now we got 2020.
Speaking of that, what is your opinion on the 36 Planeswalkers and a Planeswalker in every pack?
Okay, so honestly, at first I thought it was ridiculous. I was thinking, okay, so Dominaria, they give us all legendary creatures. That was a flux. That was good for Commander and stuff. And now we get Ravnica coming in, and then the third set of Ravnica is going to be a bunch of Planeswalkers. And we're looking at what? You got uncommon, and rare and mythic Planeswalkers.
Is that how it is?
From what I was told. If I'm wrong, y'all can correct me. But as far as I know, that's what I remember. So you're getting 6... In a pre-release pack, you're guaranteed, depending on if they have a seeded pack or not, you're guaranteed, 6 Planeswalkers?
Yeah, so you have the chance between 6 and 7, and because they haven't announced how they're doing the pre-release packs.
Okay.
So you have the chance of, if they do a seeded pack, you will get 1 Planeswalker from that, and then 5 booster packs. And if they don't do a seeded pack, I assume the promo card would be a Planeswalker.
Yeah.
Because what else would they give you?
Right.
And then you would get 6 packs, which would give you 6 Planeswalkers, yes. So that would give you 7. So there's a chance of 6 to 7, assuming that 1, your seeded pack and or promo card are a Planeswalker, right?
Right.
And I mean, because they, with guilds, guilds, right? That's the most recent set?
Mm-hmm.
Guilds of Ravnica?
Guilds of Ravnica, what we're in right now?
Right. I get sets confused sometimes, but...
well, I understand.
Guilds of Ravnica, they gave you a seeded pack because they were by...
guilds.
By guilds, right? And so they gave you a seeded pack with, mostly cards from that guild. And I don't think they're going to do that for War of the Spark.
It doesn't... because the way it is, it doesn't seem like it would... you would need a seeded pack for this. It's not warranted. It would more just going back to the basics, and you just get 6 packs and a promo.
Yeah. the other thing I wonder about this whole 36 Planeswalker thing, do you think this means that they're going to do away with Planeswalkers after that? Like, they're not going to print Planeswalkers anymore?
I mean, they are bringing a bunch of big guys back, and I mean, I've heard some things. I mean, there's a lot of things on another podcast I was listening to too that was talking about. There's a good chance that like it could be the end of it, and this is like our last hoorah, and then we don't have Planeswalkers anymore, and whatever we have, we have.
Right. So,
I believe, I think that I think they're going to be done for a little while. I don't think it's going to be done forever. I'm sure Wizards, it's too, I don't know, it has too much of a play in right now with a lot of decks and stuff, especially with Standard and everything, to take away without giving us something else to supplement. If that makes sense.
I guess, but I mean, you also.
You're about to nerf a bunch of Planeswalkers, and half of them aren't even be that good, in my opinion. You know, you can't do 36
overpowered Planeswalkers. Not overpowered, just like regular power.
Well, yeah, you just can't.
Planeswalkers are meant to.
You can't give us everything that's good, and then everyone just has a Planeswalker, and then there's no reason to play no more. You know what I mean? Like, in my opinion.
No, like, I mean, and it could be going back to a point where we don't have Planeswalkers anymore, because I mean, they did that for a long time.
Yeah,
right?
they did.
When what was it, Worldwake? Or
sorry,
I'm really bad. Like, I only started playing Magic in Fate Reforged.
Ish
time.
When was Planeswalkers? I don't think I didn't have them in Ravnica. I didn't have them in Future Sight. I don't think it didn't come out until what was the 2 sets after Future Sight?
I'm not sure. I was not playing.
Well, my brain's on like dead tonight, and I apologize. There's so much Magic and not enough sleep. I'm sure I can get the answer eventually.
Yeah, I mean,
for that, but like there was a period, and it wasn't that bad. I mean, obviously we didn't know that Planeswalkers were a thing.
Yeah.
Back then, you know, when I was playing Type 2 and Extended, but going back to that, it might be a good thing. It might actually give us some other slot. Like you take the Planeswalkers out, it gives you other slots for other type of control cards. Maybe gives a better little aggro run.
Yeah.
Maybe mid range gets better finally.
Yeah, one thing I want to mention with the Planeswalkers here is there was an article maybe about a half a year ago with Richard Garfield, and he said that at some point he intends for Planeswalkers to have static abilities. So basically it's an enchantment on a Planeswalker. So I really wonder if that's something he's going to implement here with how many Planeswalkers there's going to be here.
Yeah. That would be kind of cool.
Maybe like some Planeswalkers only have 2 abilities, and then their third ability is basically an enchantment, or something of that sort. Maybe they have 1 ability, or maybe a plus and a minus.
That would actually be awesome. And that's like a dual type run there.
Like no emblem type thing, like ultimate. They just kind of have a static ability
that you get like your plane what's that? Oh, is it plane? No, not plane chase. No, there are plane chase cards, right? The old plane. So sort of something like that. Like you play something like and it nerfs changes, whatever it is.
Yeah,
changes the setting.
Yeah, it's like an arena type thing.
That's kind of cool because I was actually thinking about if they would ever bring that back because I actually had fun doing that. We used to have a place in Columbus. Well, actually, when I lived in Columbus, we actually had a stack of those cards, and we would play those in tournaments. Like we'd have big tournaments with them. Yeah, they're so much fun.
Yeah, like they change certain things, and you know, like there's certain cards that force you to change the arena type thing, and there's you know, it's a really interesting concept. But I wonder what kind of things they could do with that, because I mean, he did say that is something he intended on doing at some point.
And they haven't really gave us any going on of what's going on with the cards.
Other than that there's 36 Planeswalkers, and there's going to be 1 in every pack.
So, I mean, that would be kind of cool. That would actually make a little bit more sense of giving us 36 Planeswalkers, because now we have a different ability, you know, and some of these nerfed ones, well, I call them nerfed, you know, the uncommon, you know, ones or whatever.
Right.
They actually might be pretty good. Because they might not have that many abilities, but they might change some state. I think it's really going to be good and limited, though, Dan. I really do.
Yeah.
I think it's not that it's going to be like so competitive. I think it's just going to bring a lot of fun to it, at least in my opinion. Because now you're just sitting out there, and all your little janky cards get a boost.
Yeah.
You know, and you just get to rock somebody, and people that aren't that great at the game. It's almost getting like a helping tutor, like someone that, you know, another thing that they can go with, you know.
Yeah,
I think it'd be
I'm
kind of cool.
I'm not the biggest fan of limited in general, but
No.
I understand. Like, the other thing, so from what I understand of the lore for War of the Spark is that the whole lore of it is 36 planeswalkers walk in, and one planeswalker is going to walk out.
Like the Battle Royale.
Right, and so that's what I understand from the lore. Again,
I guarantee you Ugin wins.
Probably not.
No, he wins.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Whatever. But, like I said, so from what I understand of the lore, and obviously the lore is not completely given out. This is kind of speculation.
Yeah.
By some people, also like people knowing the storyline already.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's leaks, other things, but this is just the information I've been able to collect on it, right?
Right.
I try to get as much information as I can. Whether it's right or wrong, I don't know currently. We won't know till War of the Spark comes out and they release the lore with it.
Right, everything's speculation at this point anyways.
Right. I mean, obviously some of it could be leaks and, be true. But I have no way to verify any of that currently. Because obviously anyone who's leaking stuff can't be letting out the person's name of whoever leaked it.
Yeah.
Because, that's bad on them. But yeah, like, I think it's an okay idea, but at the same time, I'm kind of weary about it.
Yeah, things are changing. That's all I can think of. I mean, it's definitely gonna be different. I think it might change how the standard meta. I don't know, for the better. And then we might just ignore this entire set and keep playing with the other cards until we get something else. Like, we don't know if there's going to be anything that this is going to change for us.
Yeah, everything's just pure speculation at this point.
Yeah, we're just hoping that we get something great about it, and
maybe
we can
at
work
the very
with
least we get a bunch of good planeswalker removal at like uncommon, or like rare that are like just solid.
Yeah.
Like, or, even, like, bringing that to, like, other formats. Like, let's say modern, like, maybe we get, like, a 1 or 2 drop planeswalker removal spell or something, where it, like, removes counters from it or something like that.
Yeah, that would be really cool. I mean, I'm assuming they're going to give us something to help counterbalance the fact that we have all this going on in this set, like they did in Dominaria. I think Dominaria did a really good job of giving us stuff to work with.
Right.
Also, given the fact with the other sets that we had already in play with that, it kind of worked itself out pretty well.
Yeah.
And I think that we have enough cards, if you look at the set right now, the way we are, and we're not losing anything with this next set coming out. So if you look at everything we have from Exilon up, I believe that this could still be healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to have a lot of janky stuff in there. That's cool. And it helps with the filthy casuals, I like to call them, because I started as a filthy casual.
Right.
And all the guys that like to do weird, cool deck building and stuff, you get extra things to look at. You get extra things to figure out and try to make work, which is going to be really cool, and it's going to help re-spark the creativeness of Magic, the brewing
part.
Yeah, which most of us all love to do, but we all know going competitive is so hard to do so. Yeah. It's easy to take someone else's idea and kind of put your own little spin on it, but it's hard to just bring a deck up, and I think this might help spark that up a little bit more. We might see a lot more creativeness coming out of this stuff.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But I don't know. I'm excited. I really am. I don't know if I'll be able to play any of the pre-releases coming up yet, but I can't wait to see the cards and get my hands on them at some point.
Yeah, no, same. I don't know if I'm going to be at pre-releases. I don't know what's going on yet. But all I know is I'm going to go get some Planeswalkers and be playing. But we're going to take a quick break. Yeah. We're going to be back in a few minutes. And but before we go on this break, I'd like to tell you that we are starting to stream Friday nights. We already stream on Sundays. Mm-hmm. We're going to stream a few other days during the week because we have to stream 7 unique days in a month. We're trying to get affiliated on Twitch. So we're going to be streaming every Friday, every Sunday from now on. Or starting April 5th on, sorry. April 5th is going to be our first
So you're doing
stream.
April 5th?
April 5th is going to be our first Friday night stream. And on that note...
Later.
We back. All right, hey guys, we're back at the Gamestorm Magic podcast. So the next topic I was actually asked to talk about by a few people in the Gamestorm Magic group, and basically it's should these cards be banned in Modern coming up?
Oof.
And the 3 cards people are talking about:
Faithless Looting,
Creeping Chill, Manamorphose. So my opinion on this is Modern's in a good state right now, and nothing really needs to be banned. The problem with Arclight Phoenix and why everyone's having a problem with it was there was no deck that was really, designed to beat it. And then the blue-green or Grixis War deck came around, where basically they're playing like Ensnaring Bridge, Chalice of the Void, Trinisphere, name an artifact that's really good against Phoenix, and they're playing it.
Right.
And they're playing War of Invention to go get them. And then Creeping Chill, I don't think it's busted in Dredge. I think it's a good card, no doubt, when they hit it off Dredge.
Oh, yeah.
But when it's in hand,
it's
almost dead.
Yeah, you don't really do that because you're not really using mana for anything
Yeah.
to cast that stuff. You don't really want to cast a Creeping Chill.
Right, so like in our round 8 today, I played against Dredge, right? I'm playing Storm, he's playing Dredge. That's just who can go off first, pretty much. And what I did was I played Manamorphose into Pyretic, into Desperate, into Empty the Warrens on turn 2 for 8.
Yeah.
Well, for 8 dudes.
Seems busted.
For 4 total.
Yeah.
And he got to a point where he's like, well, I'm dead, and then he hard cast a Creeping Chill from his hand. To be fair, he did not hit a single Dredge card.
Yeah, he was pretty bad. I saw that match.
Yeah, he had 2 Shriek Mauls out, and did not hit a single card that said Dredge on it.
And it felt really bad. I mean, I felt really bad for the guy. I mean, as much as I didn't want him to win at all, I mean, obviously.
Right, I mean, like, I turned
it
to
sucks.
put 8 damage on the board.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, that brings me to the Manamorphose thing, though. Are free spells really that busted? Like, that was a pretty busted turn for me, right?
It's a free spell. I mean, everybody's like, well, no. I mean, you gotta, like, some free spells you have to pay you have to pay life for and everything, but life is a resource. And anyways, it really doesn't mean anything, and you're not using your mana. You're not having to really pay anything else but 2 life. And most of these combo decks, you don't give a crap about your life, and so it just gives you free stuff. And I think that in itself is kind of busted, but the way everything is being done in the format right now, you've got just a couple cards that are like that, and there's still decks that can just smash Storm and smash Dredge and smash that. So you have a lot of things. I think it's just people that are just getting upset because their Pacific deck that they're dealing with or playing or whatever doesn't have a way around it, and they don't think those cards should be there, and I think they just need to get over themselves.
Yeah, and so so my problem with this is no one had a problem with Manamorphose until Phoenix came out, right?
Right.
And the deck that I would argue abuses Manamorphose more, 100%, is Storm.
Oh, yeah.
Because I play mana reducers, right? I play Brawl, and I play Goblin Electromancer.
Yeah.
I pay 1 mana to get 2 mana and draw a card.
It's broken.
I mean, I'm not saying...
For your
me.
deck.
And so, like, yes, it's a free spell. You're paying 2 mana to get 2 mana to draw a card.
Right.
And so, like, I'll make the reference to Pauper, right? Cloud of Fairies. Cloud of Fairies was essentially a free card, right?
Yeah.
And it got banned in Pauper.
Stupid.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sorry.
I played Mono Blue in Pauper when I first started playing Magic. My friend gave me the deck.
Yeah.
Because basically he's like, I'm done with Magic.
Such a good deck.
I have this, $40 deck. Here, have it. And then Cloud of Fairies got banned, and I have not touched the deck since.
Well, yeah, it's a dead deck. It just sits there.
Yeah.
Wishing it could be something again.
Right, but so, like, that's a free spell, essentially.
Yeah.
But, so free spells, yes, they're very good. And there are decks that abuse them. Arclight Phoenix,
ways around them.
Right, Arclight Phoenix has so many answers, though.
Yes.
Like, there's so many answers you could play against Arclight Phoenix that just shuts it off. Graph Digger's Cage?
Yeah, and so makes the other cards that you're using sort of useless. So it just takes it out. I mean, other than Storm, the card in other decks is just a card. It's just a helper. It's not. It's not an end all be all. It's not a I win card.
Right.
Only certain decks use it that way, and there's ways around it. So if there wasn't ways around it, if there wasn't a potential way to defeat that deck because of the card, then yes, ban it. But because there is, and there's answers.
Right. Like play Surgical Extraction. That's a free
exactly.
card.
I mean, it doesn't. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, anyone can play Surgical.
Yeah, so
like,
then why...
I play Surgical, and I'm playing a blue-red deck.
Right, so, like, you want to get rid of something, then you have to get rid of all of it.
Yeah.
In a sense, because then if there's no other of those cards left, then Surgical is just busted by itself because it's free.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it just doesn't make sense to me to make bans at right now when there's answers to everything.
Yeah.
It's just a couple people getting butthurt, in my opinion. And it happens in every form. I mean, you had in Standard, we had the whole, the Energy Dam deck thing.
Aetherworks Marble?
Yeah, when we did...
Aetherworks Marble.
Yeah. And they banned...
Aetherworks Marble.
Yeah, that was just...
And Emrakul.
Yeah,
and Reflector Mage for some odd reason.
Yeah, Reflector Mage got thrown into that for no reason. Or, like, when they banned Rampaging Ferocity.
Right. And like that's a card that should have been back in Standard, but they didn't because they didn't want to, admit mistakes and admit that they made a mistake on their mistake that they already made. And Wizards is that way sometimes.
Right. And now, don't get me wrong, Rain Up Ruins should have been banned. I get that because that was just ridiculous for Mono Red. But other than that, like there's just certain things people are just getting mad over, and they don't like how a deck uses a certain card. I hated having a free win. What was the card? Approach of the Second Sun.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna say ban it.
Right.
Because there's answers to it. It's harder to deal with.
Right.
But there's answers to the deck. So if a format has answers, if it's still level playing field, then there's no reason Wizards should get involved and ban anything, restrict anything. It should just be left alone, and we see what happens in this new set that's coming up in Modern anyways, and see what they bring back, see how it affects. And now if there's any changes, then if it comes out and then Metamorphosis or Faithless Looting just gets ridiculous in that sec, then yes, come back and look at it.
Right.
But there's no reasons right now to ban anything in Modern that I can see of.
Yeah, and I mean, like...
especially Chill, those cards.
Yeah, Creeping Chill, like... I'm just going back to Creeping Chill for a second. Creeping Chill kind of revived Dredge. Like, it was always kind of a steady... Like, a constant of... you're probably going to have one or two people at your local store playing Dredge.
Yeah.
Almost all the time. But, like, after the Grave Troll banning... Like, not a lot of people were playing Dredge.
It was dead because
it was dead. Like, it wasn't dead. It was still a solid deck, but it was probably tier 1.5. And then Creeping Chill kind of gave it this new revival to be a tier 1 deck again.
Because it's great. You pull back and you automatically get... They automatically do some damage, you gain some life, and you keep yourself in the game.
Right.
You got more bang for your buck when it came to dredging. I like it, You get to throw some stuff in a graveyard and gain something from it, and then also get your stuff back. Like,
yeah,
that was pretty
obviously
sweet.
you have to exile it as well, too. So it's like it's not like you're going to be able to bring it back later.
Yeah, it's not like an unlimited thing.
Yeah, no, it's a one-time, like, you hit it and you deal 3 damage and gain 3 life.
But if it sits in their hands, then it's a whiff. So it's got its downfalls, and so
you
that's
also can't target
safe.
because the text on it does say deal 3 damage to target player. Or each opponent, or target opponent. I think it has a target.
I thought it was each opponent.
I believe it has a target. Not 100% sure on this. I guess I could probably look it up.
Working on it.
To make sure.
We got Google, people. It's a beautiful thing in our lives.
Yeah. We're going to Google this shit real quick.
Creeping Chill.
So it says deal 3 damage to each opponont, yeah.
Yep,
and you gain 3 life, so yeah.
Austin got something right for once in his life.
But basically, I always find that really weird where it's 3 damage compared to each opponent loses 3 life and then you gain 3. I thought the text on how they worded it was interesting.
You can prevent damage, but you can't prevent life loss. Loss of life. So there's other cards that you can use to be able to get around Creeping Chill. Most people don't use them because there's other cards you would rather be in your deck to go off instead of that, but whatever.
Right, I mean, it's just an interesting.
But there is an answer to Creeping Chill to keep you from dealing with that and it being another dead card in their deck if that's what you chose to do. So the fact that it has a downfall.
Right. And I think also, going back to Faithless Looting now, if you ban Faithless Looting, what does Dredge do? Because Faithless Looting is not only going to screw, and it's not even really going to hurt Storm that much. They'll just play like Cathartic Reunion or something.
Yeah, we got other.
They have Cathartic Reunion, they have Tormenting Voice, they have tons of other options, just not at 1 mana, and not the one that you can flash back. So obviously, like, it's a good card. Don't get me wrong, it's a fantastic card, but Dredge needs it.
Yeah.
Like,
it benefits that deck 100%. So if you do that, you're just gonna nerf a whole deck out of reason for no reason.
Yeah, so like if you ban looting, you're not only hurting the deck you're trying to hurt here, which is what everyone wants. What everyone wants the deck to hurt is Phoenix. Mm-hmm. You're also hurting another deck that's Dredge. So essentially, you're gonna hurt 2 decks in the format, and then you're gonna warp the format in a different way, right? Yeah. I don't think they make for a bad play style where you can't really interact like KCI did. Like, KCI needed to be banned because it was so hard to interact with, right?
Right.
Like, let's say you go to try to kill something, they can just respond by sacking something else, and then your kill spell or whatever is going to go at the bottom of the stack. And then they just get to keep going.
Yeah. That was ridiculous.
Right. Like, that needed to be banned because it created a bad interaction between 2 players, where one player essentially had to just sit there and watch their opponent play.
Right.
I mean, kind of like similar with what people were saying about Nexus of Fate and Wilderness Reclamation, right? Like, it creates a format where it's non-interactive.
It's not. It takes the fun out of a certain match and stuff of playing. You don't get to play your cards at all. It takes the fair magic out of it.
Yeah, I mean, but
however,
yeah, like Metamorphose, I think if we're going to see any bannings in the future, it's probably going to be Metamorphose. If I had to pick one of the 3 cards here to ban, I'd say Metamorphose is the most likely to get banned because it essentially is a free spell. It's 2 mana, create 2 mana, and draw a card.
Yeah, so you're literally just playing it for free.
Right. And, there's so many decks that can take advantage of it. Like, tons of decks that can play it, but only a select few decks play it, right? Mono-Red Phoenix, Blue-Red Phoenix, and Storm, I think, are like the only 3 decks that play Metamorphose.
I mean, there is a Modern Delver deck out there that plays it, or a Prowess deck out there that's not really relevant, but it does play the
right.
card.
So I mean, but like I'm saying, like the tier 1 to 1.5 decks, I'd say there's 3 decks that play it currently. While Storm, yes, it's kind of busted in a sense of.
But Storm has its really bad matchups as well, and there are cards in the format that you can side in most decks to help with Storm.
Right, like almost any deck can play a Damping Spear.
Yes.
That hurts Storm a lot. Gravedigger's Cage, Rest in Peace.
Oh, yes.
Leyland of Sanctity.
I watched you go around Rest in Peace. That was great.
What?
I watched you with the Rest in Peace thing. That was a nightmare.
Yeah, that was rough. I played Control in the final round, and he played Rest in Peace. So I won on turn 3, game 1. Basically what happened was I played Electro. So he was like, oh, I'm playing against Phoenix again, which I got almost every round, which is hilarious.
Yeah, they were seeing it coming.
And then I like slammed Electromancer on 2, and then passed turn, and then he had no answer. So I untap, cast like Metamorphose into blah 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 blah, and then I cast a Gifts. I put the pile out, and he goes, I concede.
Yeah.
He didn't even make me play it out. If he gave me the wrong card, or if he gave me Metamorphose and Pass and Flames and put the 2 rituals into the yard, and I didn't hit ritual off the Metamorphose, I was not winning that turn. So I don't know why he conceded. That's the other thing I learned this weekend. People don't know what to give you.
No.
People do not know how to read what you have in hand. how many cards you have in hand. I think I had maybe 2 opponents out of my 9 give me the correct pile of what they need to give me so I don't storm off.
Oh, yeah. Like, you had the 8th round, the one dude, he had to keep asking the standard player, who I was playing against, there was a big conversation for like at least
Correct.
3 minutes.
They both
trying to figure it
agreed
out.
to give me the cards that I needed anyway.
Yes.
But in round 9, the legacy player told the standard player what to give me, because basically he's like, he has no cards in hand.
You mean the modern player?
No, the legacy player told the modern player. Yeah. Sorry, that basically he's like, yeah, he has no cards in hand, referring to me. That I have no cards in hand, so why would he give me the mana? When
Right.
He can give me the Pass and Flames and the Metamorphose. And then I'm like, man, if this wasn't a team event, I would have got 2 Pyretic, or I would have got a Pyretic and a Desperate, and I would have just like stormed off and won.
Yep.
Yeah, basically. And
that's why I kind of like the team event. I mean, it kind of puts a little more fairness in there, because
right.
even if you could be a really good player, but sometimes you're going to get stuck on something, or there's a line that you weren't expecting.
Right.
And so you get just a little bit more help sometimes in there, and I think that's really cool, and it helps push you forward, and then you learn something from it, and not just someone telling you how to do it. So I thought it was pretty cool. Sorry for that.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Like, that's a good thing to mention. I like team events a lot now.
I do too. This was my first one, except
second.
for like 2 giant events. But like for this type of event, it was pretty cool. I had 2 great people to be with my first one, and I had a ton of fun, even though my deck didn't perform well. I believe I played the best I could, and my team did exactly what they needed to do, and sometimes you get there and sometimes you don't.
Yeah, no, like there was like a few games where I made like minor misplays, but nothing that ever ended a game for me. There were things where it's like I could have extended the game a turn maybe, but like obviously, stuff like that happens.
Right.
And like extending a game 1 turn isn't gonna do much. If I don't have access to like a Pass and Flames or something.
Yeah.
And like almost every time I played against Phoenix, the moment Pass and Flames hit the graveyard, they were able to surgical it, because they play surgical main board. Like my round 1, I ended up storming off through it, but my opponent surgical Pass and Flames and Gifts Ungiven in the same end step.
Whew.
The turn before I was about to go off. And so I had to go off without both of those cards. But at that point, I had an Empty the Warrens in hand.
At least you had an out. At least you had something left, because they just took 2 of your ways to go off. Pretty. That's bad. That's nasty.
That was. I got really lucky in that I had the empty in hand already.
Yeah.
And she had realized that, and was like, that's rough. And I had to wait for her to play Thing in the Ice, and I had to force her into flipping them.
Oh, that was so great. I remember that. I was sitting right next to you on that. Oh, that was so
this is round 1, and she countered, I think she countered Pass and Flames. This is game, no. She countered something, and I don't remember what it was. Maybe it was something silly. Like something that didn't need to be fought over.
Metamorph?
No, it was...
No. I don't remember, because I remember watching it, and I remember watching that go down.
That was 8 rounds ago.
Yeah, but I remember I was in a heavy battle of my own.
Yeah, but basically what happened was I had a Dispel in hand, and I also had maybe a Remand or something. And so basically what I did was her Thing in the Ice was at 2, and she had cast a spell to counter whatever I countered, and then I only had just the 1 Dispel.
Yeah.
And I'm like, do I want to fight over this? And I'm like, I look over at Mike and I go, Mike, do I try to force her to flip the thing by dispelling her Dispel, so that way she's forced to play the Snapcaster that I know is in her hand to cast Spell Pierce. I will have 1 mana left over I'll be able to use that 1 mana to cast double ritual into empty after the thing is flipped.
Right. Because then at that point, now she can't deal with anything. You just...
Right. And so I ended up doing that, and I was able to get there with goblins. So that was, that was really just a sweet play.
She was trying to find her butt off, though. I remember watching that match. She was really good, though. She did work her. She worked her butt off for that.
I played against her in Indy as well. She's a very good player.
Yep.
Her whole team's sponsored by different people. And I think one of them is sponsored by the Bearded Dragon.
Yes.
They're standard player, right?
Talk about that. Yeah, both of them are actually.
Okay.
The girl is, and she's also sponsored by somebody else.
The Bearded Dragon's in Illinois, right?
Is that right? I thought that was an Indy. It might be Indy. I'm pretty sure it was an Indy.
Either way, they're respectable players. They're pretty good. I see most of them at pretty big tournaments whenever I go, and but like that was just like a really cool interaction. And I mean, I love team events in general. Like you get to interact with not only one opponent, but you get to interact with 3. You get to talk with your partners, your team, to be able to decide.
So it just makes you better at the game.
Yeah, and it also allows you to kind of brainstorm with your partners too, with your team. Mm-hmm. Make sure that whatever you're doing is making the right plays, because like a lot of times, like a lot of players will get very narrow-minded, very one line, like a very linear approach to their decks, and having 2 other players to kind of bounce ideas off of.
Oh yeah,
broadens that play, and just helps it a lot.
It definitely helped me in my mirror match. Which I'm usually pretty good at. When people have watched me in mirror matches when it comes to mono blue. Yes, I'm that degenerate. And this one was pretty.
Is this the Austin versus Austin match?
Yeah, yes. That was the greatest thing ever. So I'll bring it back. So we sit down, and my opponent's name's Austin, and we're both playing mono blue.
Yep.
That was pretty sweet. Both had different accents, but whatever.
Yeah.
But it was pretty sweet. So we had fun with that. The whole teams were pretty cool, and we went back and forth, and I was pretty confident, and I won the first match. Second match was kind of it was a little back and forth on it, but he got there. Third match was the most grindiest match I have ever had in my life. It was like nail biting. Like I swear to you, I had no idea. And if it wasn't for the fact that I had Dan and Mike done waiting on me to win.
Yeah, because I forgot Eidolon was a card.
He whiffed on that one.
Yeah, because I got super narrow-minded into thinking, because I really didn't get to see a lot of his deck. He played 2 lands game 1.
Yeah.
And basically, he was just like getting there on the 2 lands. I played against Burn. And so, anyone who plays Modern knows that there's like 3 variants of Burn. There's mono-red, there's red-white, and then there's Naya.
Yeah.
And so, like, when I was boarding, I got super narrow-minded on the fact of, is he on Naya and does he play Cindervines? That I just completely forgot about.
Those other cards. You're worried about one and
right.
Forget the other. Yeah.
And so, like, I ended up bolting one of his Monastery Swift Spears. And he proceeds to then play Eidolon, and I have an unsubstantiated as an answer. But I can't do it until he plays another spell. And basically he played Goblin Guide, and I'm like, am I gonna take like, if I cast a spell here, I take like 7.
Yeah. It was brutal.
It was brutal, and I'm just like, I literally turned to Mike and said, what the do I do? Because, and my opponent was laughing. He's just like, did you just hear what he just said?
Right.
And he's like, he just said, what the do I do? And I'm like, yeah, like, I literally, like, I can't do anything. Like, any way I do this, if you have a single burn spell in hand, I'm just dead.
Yeah,
and he goes, I mean, I could show you 2 burn spells. I'm like, okay, show him and I'll scoop. And he shows me Boros Charm and Lightning Helix. I'm like,
yep,
those both do it.
They do it.
And so basically, I was just like, cool, got that done. Time to help Austin.
Yeah. Well, because we were sitting there, so I was doing pretty well right until a certain moment in the game. So... Right. It's hard for me to remember. I'll remember tomorrow when it doesn't matter.
Here's I can pretty much sum it up. So, Austin, Benedetti,
hello,
has a Mistcloak Herald in the battlefield, a Siren Storm Tamer with 1 Curious Obsession on it, and a Tempest Djinn. And
my opponent, Austin,
has a Siren Storm Tamer with 2 Curious Obsessions on it and 1 counter from a Essence Capture.
And another Storm Tamer.
No, he does not have that yet.
Oh, no, that was
So,
after. Okay,
so basically, Austin turns to me and he goes, what do I do here? And I'm like, well, I think you block with the Djinn. Either force a trade or force him to use 2 spells.
Yeah, because I was really wonky on the line there.
Right, because Austin had a Wizard's Retort in hand, and so by blocking with the Djinn, he's either going to force a trade, or his opponent has to have Dive Down plus Counterspell.
Yeah.
So basically what he did was he got 2 cards out of his hand. He lost his Djinn. His opponent didn't draw 2 cards, that was the only reason why I was like, you need to block here.
Yes.
Because I'm like, you can't let him draw 2 cards because he's going to 2
Because that was my I remember that. That was my thing to him. I go, look, I have at the time I was looking at it. I was looking at his thing, and I know he only had a couple cards in hand. I was like, I've got the win here. I could take the damage, but the problem with taking the damage and keeping my Djinn on the board without having to lose it was him drawing the 2 cards.
Yeah.
Because at the time, I literally was sitting with lands in my hand and maybe one other threat.
I think you had a Mistcloak Herald or something.
Yeah, I had a Mistcloak Herald in my hand. I knew I was going to play that, and I had a was it a Wizard's Retort?
Yeah.
At some point in lands. So I was whiffing out pretty hard, but I still had a board state, and I still had him thinking differently. But when Dan told me to go ahead and do it, I started looking at the board, and it made me think a little bit more, and I was like, okay, I do this. Now, this was the weirdest exchange.
So the following turn, correct?
Yeah, the following turn was the weirdest exchange.
So basically, I'm listening to them. Austin's kind of focused on his board state, what his opponent has. I'm listening to our opponents talk.
Yes.
And they're throwing out really random things. They were doing it on purpose. I mean, it's a way to play.
Yeah.
They're like, well, what if he has Spell Pierce? And then he's like, wait, what does Spell Pierce do? And this is coming from the mono blue player saying that. So I'm like, okay,
And
obviously
he
knows what Spell Pierce does. So he's maybe trying to trick us into thinking he has something. At first I was like, based on what they're saying and what they're talking about, I think he has a Blink of an Eye in hand.
Yeah.
Which he didn't. He had double Entrancing Melody.
God.
And so what this whole exchange that happened was he cast Entrancing Melody, the first one, targeting the Siren Storm Tamer that did not have Curious Obsession on it. Austin then sacked it, so that way he didn't get it.
Yes.
He then cast a second one. Now Austin is tapped out.
And he takes the Siren Storm Tamer with a Curious Obsession.
Yeah, he takes the Siren Storm Tamer with a Curious Obsession, is able to swing for 3 or 4, draw 2 cards, and then this Austin here was able to top deck Sleep.
Oh yeah, baby! And then
then put his opponent into a really, really awkward situation. And they're both, I believe, our opponent was at 7 life, and this Austin was at 6 life. So this is like a just super pivotal moment in the game.
And I look at both of
this Austin has a Spell Pierce in hand, so he's obviously able to get around this, whatever the opponent does, and.
No. This one I did not have the Spell Pierce in hand on this one actually.
Oh, that's right. You had the Mistcloak.
I had a Mistcloak Herald in hand. So what I did was I played Sleep. Now the thing was I had enough mana to play Sleep and play Mistcloak Herald afterwards, and that's it. Now, but doing this, I knew he had to have the Spell Pierce.
He didn't though.
But he didn't. But he was holding it up and talking to his people like he had the Spell Pierce. I looked at both of them and go, I have to force it here because it's the only way I'm going. And then I play Mistcloak. If he whiffs, he whiffs.
The Sleep ends up resolving.
Yes.
So that forces the Curious Obsession off that Siren Storm Tamer.
Yes. Thank God.
Which the turn prior to this, we were able to get a Terramander, cast a Essence Capture, and then he Essence Captured his own Djinn to make his Curious Obsession, or his
Storm
Tamer to be a 5/5.
Yes.
So that way it would trade with the Terramander, and by casting the Essence Capture for us, it allowed us to tap 1 to adapt, because he only had 6 spells prior to that.
Yep.
That put it to the 7, so it had 1 to tap, and then we also had enough mana to hold up a Spell Pierce.
Spell Pierce, yeah, we did have it then.
Which we ended up using on the dive down that he used to try to keep his Storm Tamer from not trading with the... That's where the Spell Pierce came in.
That's how it came in.
So they tried to not trade. We got it with the Spell Pierce, and then they traded. Then that's where Austin drew the sleep. He still has a second... he has the Storm Tamer that he stole.
Yes. So he still has the Storm Tamer he stole with the Curious Obsession on it, and I only have at this point now a Mystical Herald on the board.
Right. So you have this. Then you cast the sleep.
Yes.
He's thinking about what he wants to do. He doesn't really have anything. He's just kind of bluffing, talking with his team to bluff, to make Austin think maybe there's something coming later, the next turn. But basically, by doing this, the Curious Obsession fell off, went back to our Austin's graveyard, because it was his that he stole from with Entrancing Melody. And then Austin played the Mystical Herald, and then was able to just get a 3-turn clock with 2 unblockable creatures. And his opponent literally just was drawing lands. I think he drew a Tempest Djinn at the last turn, and he had a Wizard's Retort in hand, and Austin didn't have to cast anything. He just was like, beat 2, beat 2, beat 2.
It was just, it was so
GG.
crazy. It went from, it was weird though, because it just, at one moment, it went from me just slamming him, then it went back to he was about to just annihilate me.
Game.
So it was helpful, because now I know how to handle that situation a lot better, because it was a different line. Because I know how to play mono blue. A lot of people know I know how to play mono blue, because I've been repping this deck since ever. However, I get a lot of I make some mistakes a lot because I'm so one-minded on things.
Right. And like that's just as a segue here, because we're gonna wrap it up really soon here. As a segue of learning from play mistakes and stuff. When we do the stream, when we do streaming and do these commentaries, we're not trying to ever, hurt anyone. We're not trying to hurt anyone's feeling. We're not trying to degrade players or anything. We're just trying to show you our point of view. Whoever's doing commentary, we're trying to show you how we have lines, what we're seeing in the lines. Even though you might be seeing something different, we might be seeing something different than you. Maybe our line isn't correct. But we're just trying to show you our point of view. And I mean, there's plenty of times today, between all three of us, that we talk to each other, and then we suggest something, and then the player who's playing the deck, obviously that player who's playing the deck knows the deck the best.
Yes.
And they're able to be like, no, here's why I think this, and you're able to discuss it a little bit. Obviously, not too long, because you still have to keep active board state and all that stuff, but you're able to talk and kind of see these other point of views, and sometimes they're not right. Like, I told Austin a few things, and then he's like, no, I don't think that's right, and I'm like, well, tell me why. And then you were able to tell me why, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I agree with you. Like, you're right.
There were some lines that were made that we had to do our own thing, but then also the lines that were there, it proved to the player that was playing the deck that he was looking at way too closed-minded.
Right. So it's like we want to use all that stuff as learning experiences, especially with streaming. It's not only a tool to help promote the store, it's also a tool to help the players.
Yes.
We also think of not only as this is the store's thing, it's helping the store, drawing people, blah, blah, blah. All the promotion part of it, right? That's the business side of it. It's also a service to the players of, I can go back and watch my game, watch my misplays, see my lining errors.
You get study material. Right. It's like when I was playing football, when anyone's playing football, you're playing a sport, you go in and you watch the reels, you watch your past, you watch other game reels. Now you get something to go back and look at and go, okay, yeah, I screwed up. I shouldn't have done that. And you know what to look for now in your certain matchups and stuff, or what's not going to be the greatest line to take anymore. You take this line. It's pretty sweet. I love it.
Here's an example so I played on Sunday night stream the other week. I played against Hardened Scales. I'm playing Storm. That's all I play in Modern. And I had gifts. So my opponent had Grafdigger's Cage out, it was Grafdigger's Cage or Damping Sphere, one of the two. Yeah. Either way, I had to deal with it so I could combo off. It was Damping Sphere.
Yeah.
And I went to go gifts, for 4 pieces of removal, forgetting that I only have 3 pieces of removal to grab because they have to be different names. That's how Gifts Ungiven works. And when I went to go grab it, I realized that I had boarded Noxious Revival out. So I wasn't. So if he didn't give me the right piece of removal, and like let's say I think I grabbed Echoing Truth, Wipe Away, Pass in Flames, and a Braid. And so he gave me the Echoing Truth and the Pass in Flames and put the Wipe Away and the Braid in the graveyard. And I had cast the... this was just a play mistake of... I cast the Echoing Truth in hopes that one of the 3 cantrips in my hand was going to draw me a Baral.
Yeah.
Because then I was able to storm off. I didn't end up seeing the Baral. And so then I was on this track of... How am I going to get this back? Because I don't have Noxious Revival in the deck. And so, to this weekend, I did not board out Noxious Revival at all. I think I boarded it out in one matchup. I think I boarded it out against Burn.
Yeah.
But that's really it. Because, it's so good of, I can respond to Surgical with it. I can respond to a Rest in Peace. I can respond to a bunch of other things of, oh, you're trying to exile the card or my graveyard. Let me just put this back on top. Someone, I think, cast Grafdigger's Cage or Rest in Peace, and I responded by Noxious Revivaling, putting gifts on top so I could win.
Yeah, that was pretty sweet.
But yeah, so I learned from that of the fact that I need to leave Noxious Revival in when I'm bringing in my removal for certain spells, specifically artifacts, because I don't have a lot of interaction with them. Same thing with enchantments. Artifacts and enchantment hate that I bring in, I don't have a lot of it.
Yeah.
And it's a select number of cards, so I have to leave the Noxious Revival in case they put one of those in the yard. I can just put it back on top of my deck. So basically, yeah. It's a service to players.
Yeah.
Obviously, we want people to get better. And, yeah, I mean, you got anything else on that?
Not really. I mean, if you feel like someone's being too down on you or whatever on the stream or whatever, if you're feeling like that they're just, if you just feel upset from what said,
talk to us.
At least talk to the people that are doing it.
Yeah,
it's better to just go to Dan or go to John and let them know. Go to John. Obviously, it's a store.
Yeah.
Dan and them are the ones that are mostly in control of that.
Right. So
part.
If you come talk to me and say hey, I really don't like when you are really harsh on me in my play mistakes, blah blah blah, or whatever, I'll tone it down. I don't care. But
this is commentary, remember, so
right, I'm gonna call what I see.
Yes.
Right? I'm not trying to call it in an incorrect manner of I'm not trying to be mean about
right.
it.
And there's certain people you'll notice that we talk to, and that's just our closer group of friends that we will say certain things about.
Right, oh, that was just so bad.
Yeah,
he's just a bad player.
We're gonna call them out because they call us out.
Right, we're obviously a friend group, so
Yes.
sometimes you'll hear people talk about that. We get comments on the YouTube things of I really don't think the commentators should really be talking like that about certain players, blah blah blah. And it's we do realize that is the case sometimes, and sometimes we do step a little bit closer to the line. I don't really think lately, we've really toned about. I think at one point we did cross the line.
Yes.
And we all talked about that. We had a big group meeting about it and said, hey, we can't really do that anymore. That was bad.
But now we've gotten to the point where we are a little bit more professional with it. Again, we're Magic players, so there's only so much professionalism that goes into this game for us.
Right.
But however, we also, the people that we do mess with, we try to tone down our language on it. But the people we do mess with, they know that we're going to do it because we usually talk to them about the stuff beforehand. And if they get on stream, they're going to do it to us. However, anyone that's new or whatever, don't just, please, if you feel any type of way, let Dan know. Let somebody know so it can be addressed.
Yeah.
Other than that, back to the bannings real quick. I think we pretty much summed up. We got off the subject, but I think we pretty much summed up how we feel. That it's just Modern is in a good state with those cards because there are ways around it. So until the next set shows different or another deck comes up and just uses these cards in abusive ways, I think that, and I think Dan will agree, that it's okay to just let these cards be.
Yeah, no, I think Modern's in a state where it's fine, and we finally got a deck that answers the cards. Like we had about a probably a month period between when Jody Keith won the GP with Phoenix to probably about a week or two ago, where we had the Word deck come up, where it's like we finally have this answer. The answer deck for the problem deck, right?
Yes.
And that's how formats evolve, and that's what happens.
And that's what we need. We need cards like that we're talking about right now in the format to bring up the other decks to show, give you a reason to play again.
Yeah, and so just coincidentally, all the decks that are playing hate for Phoenix, coincidentally, all of that hate is very good against Storm.
Yes.
So, when I was playing against decks, they're they think I'm on Phoenix. I played against a guy on Scape Shift, and I should have won the match, but could not. He double prime timed me, and I could not do anything about it, and it was rough. But both games he put Relic on turn 1, and so he saw blue-red on my turn 1 because I was on the play, and then I pass. He plays land. Relic, and then I play a Brawl, and he goes, "Wow, that was not the blue-red deck I was thinking of." And then he goes, "But hey, my hate for the one coincidentally worked for the other." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's how it's been all day."
Yeah.
It's. I think it's in a good, healthy place right now. I thought all my matches were fair. I didn't think any of my matches were broken. It was a lot of back and forth. And obviously this is coming from me playing another busted deck, right? Not busted, but it's a combo deck, but it requires a certain amount of skill to play and a certain amount of knowledge of how it plays and how it interacts with opponents and all that.
And also it helps to know your meta in order to play the deck correctly. So you have to know what's going to be out there.
Right, at Gamestorm, there wasn't a lot of Phoenix decks. Here, I played Phoenix 4 times. And I won one of them.
Yeah, brutal matchups.
Yeah, it was really rough. Or I won 2 of them, I think.
Yeah.
That's
you did win 2 of them. But
yeah, that's a very 50-50 matchup for me in general. I really have to hope that I can surgical Phoenix, and that if I can't grape shot them, I can get an empty off after they flip 1 or 2 thing in the ice. But yeah, so I think we're gonna wrap it up here.
Yep.
Please comment what you think about any of this stuff. If you want to, join in. Also, you can message me on Facebook if you ever want to be on one of these podcasts. We try to have a guest every other week. We do a podcast every other week, but we try to have a guest on every week. This week, a little bit different because we're in Cincinnati, so it's kind of hard to be like, hey, you want to drive to Cincinnati to be a guest?
Right. Or randomly go up to somebody or whatever.
Right. So, we want to continue doing this. This is... just kind of a side project that, Tom and I started. Obviously, Tom's not here. Tom didn't come to this tournament this weekend. He had work.
So you get me.
So we have Austin. But yeah, we're going to try to get more people on. Sorry this went a little bit longer today. We kind of had a lot to talk about.
A lot of things just popped in our brains as soon as we hit the mic, so...
especially because we just played 9 rounds of Magic. And I'm just hyped up on Magic. I just played 9 rounds of Magic.
I'm about to build another deck for tomorrow.
Because we're gonna go play some classics.
Yes.
That's
gonna be
fun. Yeah. Thank you to John at Gamestorm for kind of letting us use the Gamestorm name here, letting us post to the YouTube where we already kind of are established. We're getting more viewers, and we're working on getting these podcasts posted to Apple and Google podcast apps. On top of just being on YouTube. Currently we're just on YouTube because we're still working out the kinks of that because we have a lot going on. We're trying to get this streaming going. I'm at this tournament this weekend. We got a lot going on. I'm in school, I work, I also do all the stream stuff, and obviously Austin works
all the time.
I also like to play Magic as
we
well.
all try to make time for this as much as possible, and Dan works his butt off. to get this done as well. And I just, John, let him do this. Him and Tom do this, and this is really great because it helps out the store. It helps get them out there and recognized as the great players that they are and can be. And it gives us the people at Gamestorm and friends and everybody a chance to
speak their minds.
Speak our minds about what it is and get out there in the world and, make a name for ourselves or whatever in the Magic world as much as we can. And we like to, I just like to hear myself talk. So it's always great for me to do this.
Yeah, and I just want to mention something that, we are trying to get, out there more. So please, comment, subscribe, and share
Hashtag this stuff, people.
The podcast, the streams, just get it out there for us. That's something we're trying to promote more. And obviously, we can't do that ourselves.
No, throw this on your Twitters, throw this on your Facebooks.
Right, you guys are what make all this happen.
Yes, 100%.
And we want to keep doing this, right? And we need you guys to help us out with.
Because eventually, we all just want to sit back, do commentary, and not work anymore. So help us do this,
right?
Because this is what I want to do.
Right, and if you made it this far, comment down below. Say hey, I listened to the whole thing, and I comment, subscribed, and I shared. Say
Yes.
Hey, I shared it on Facebook today, or whatever. Go post it on some Magic page.
And I don't even care what you say about it, as long as it's good things. You can say Austin should shut up more. I got it. It's cool.
And we also like constructive criticism.
Yes.
The other day, I made a post. I said, "Hey, what can make this podcast better?" I obviously know this sounds a bit tinny, maybe a bit echoey. We don't have necessarily the best equipment right now. We're upgrading slowly. I'm working on getting a soundboard and 2 more mics, so that way each person doing this can have their own mic, and we can have a soundboard to control the mixer and everything.
We do a lot better editing.
Right, do a lot better editing, all that stuff. But for all that to happen, we need you guys to comment, subscribe, and share. We need to get out there more, so that way we can, keep making this better.
Yes,
and
keep pushing back into this.
We're always going to try to come up with relevant topics.
All right, well, that's our long-winded podcast for this weekend.
Yeah.
Thank you again for letting me on, Dan.
Yeah. Sorry, guys, for going so long. I know we try to keep this to 30 minutes, but we just had a lot on our mind this week.
We had 1 hour and 7 minutes.
Yeah, so we will see you guys back in 2 weeks.
Take it easy.